Healthy Edge Radio, we're here every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports 1280 Rochester for purposeful conversation with healthy leaders from our community who are helping us achieve the goal of making Rochester the healthiest city in America. We're going to jump right in with Healthy Edge Tip of the Week, and that is brought to you by Rochester Fitness and Cycling at 2501 Browncroft Boulevard or at rochesterfitnessequipment.com. This week's tip is inspired by our guests, who are Amanda Merlot. She is a national weightlifting, I'm just going to call you champion. I was going to say record holder, but you're a champ. And Matt Altabelli and Courtney Zona of Gruntz Fitness. And our tip this week is be sure to use modifications of exercises that work for your particular fitness situation. Amanda, talk to us about modifying workouts. You're competing in the disability. Let me look at my notes again here and see exactly what that is. The National Junior Disability Championships. Do you have to modify many of your workouts?
Honestly, no. I can do 99.9% of anything that any person who can walk into the gym can do. And so that's, my trainer knows that. And so he doesn't really limit, let's do this instead of this. No, he does whatever he feels that I need to do to be the best that I can.
Now, if you're talking, when you say your trainer, you're talking about Phil Antonarella. Yeah. He's down at World Gym on East Avenue. Did you have that mindset walking in the door? Did you walk in and say, I can do everything? Or how, did Phil get you to that point?
When I was 5, no, I did not. And it's Phil, it's, my coaches, Greg and Kristen, it's Sportsnet. It's a big, huge...
Yeah, our friend Mike Kokewhite's over there, right?
Without them, I wouldn't even be able to do the National Junior Disability Championships. I wouldn't, and so it's thanks to them that I can do that.
Yeah, they provide the organizational structure, but you bring the mindset, which is there is no difference.
There's no can't. It's always right. You can.
That's awesome. So you don't need any modifications. We're barking up the wrong tree with you. Let's go over to our trainers, Matt Altabelli and Courtney Zona of Gruntz Fitness. You guys obviously have clients of all levels of fitness. Talk to us a little bit about that. What modifications do you offer over at Gruntz Fitness?
So there's different types of modifications based on the client too. So where like a heavier client might have a harder time holding a plank or doing maybe a renegade row, which is from like a push-up position where it'll put too much pressure on their wrist or their shoulder. So we might want to modify that a little bit by either using a surface for them to get up on, so they're at a different level, less pressure on those joints. And you can also modify things the other way, where it's more challenging. Anyone that's seen our Challenge Wednesdays know that we like to get a little bit crazy with stuff. We did like crucifix push-ups this week.
I saw that on your Facebook page.
Yeah, those are hard.
My shoulders hurt watching it, but so you can work up to it.
So you can modify things based on your current fitness or skill level. You should always be challenging yourself, but you also don't want to hurt yourself. And different clients have different muscle imbalances too. So we always try and look for that and correct for it based on what we're doing currently that day, what muscle group, and what we want to modify. As far as injuries go, because I know like I have a shoulder impingement, I kind of messed myself up back in the day. So like there's certain moves I can't do. Like I can't do decline bench or dips or even really pull-ups anymore without my shoulder locking up. So I have to kind of modify those things for myself in order to get like the same benefit out of training.
So there's an irony in the name Gruntz Fitness because, we're going to talk a little bit later in the show, in your interview, it has a military connotation. If you're a grunt in the military, you're kind of the bottom, you're doing all the hard, heavy lifting. Right. And it's kind of a knucklehead connotation, but you guys are the opposite of that, where you're very thoughtful and very careful to make sure that you are prescribing exercises that's appropriate for your client's level of fitness as well as psychology. People are walking in. Courtney, have you ever, how do you modify for a client who comes in and says, I can't do it? No. So, Amanda over here, she's talked about she can do it. You and I have been in the fitness business. Yeah. You get a lot of clients that just come in and are...
I can.
Yes.
And I know that they can. And it's reading them too. It's knowing, okay, like I'm pushing them too far. I can tell that they're amount of pain is not a matter of them pushing themselves. It's no, I'm going to push them into an injury. So it's knowing the difference and getting to know your client as well, kind of how they react to pressure and kind of what mindset they're in. Like if I know someone is in the mindset of, just not fully invested in the program, I'm going to try to push them a little bit harder because I know it's just them getting to that mindset and pushing them harder. But if they just have this look on their face like they won't tell me that they can't, but I can see it in their face that they're just struggling and I could be possibly pushing them into an injury, then I'll modify the move, make it a little bit easier, or maybe move to something differently where we're still working that same muscle group, but it's in a better position that's more comfortable for them. So it's reading your client and knowing their needs and knowing how to push them in an appropriate level without pushing them into an injury.
Yeah, and you're also talking about the importance of picking, if you are one of our listeners out there and you're looking for help with your training, picking a trainer who has experience, who has qualifications through training, and they're going to do the right thing, because there's a level of trust that you put in to a trainer client relationship. You've got to know that they've got your best interest, and it sounds like you guys are right on that over at Gruntz in both the physical and the mental aspect.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, that is our Healthy Edge tip of the week. Be sure to use modification of exercises where they are appropriate for your situation. We'll post the whole story we'll post that whole story on our Healthy Edge tip of the week blog on healthyedgemedia.com. Again, thank you to Rochester Fitness and Cycling for sponsoring that segment, and go check it out. Let's talk a little bit more with Matt and Courtney from Gruntz Fitness. I alluded to the military kind of heritage that kind of tips the cap to. You were in the Air Force, Matt, right?
Correct.
And we talked off air. You actually were responsible for physical training for your subordinates or other people in your, I don't know what you call it in the Air Force, unit or
Squadron.
How did you get into that? Were you a fitness guy? Did they look at you and say you're fitter than most? How did you evolve into that position?
No, it was probably the opposite at first. When I got into like weightlifting and stuff when I was in high school, training to go into the Air Force. I was actually pretty small in high school. It took a lot of work to kind of build up to where I am now. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to work with some of the greater names, or have them as my idols, the old school bodybuilders in Rochester. Like Pete Procopia. I don't know if you know him.
I worked with Pete over at the Rochester Athletic Club. He's a legend. He came in second to Sean Ray in, I think, the 1983 USA Championships. Just missed being a pro and being in the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
By a smidge. And he had a sweet afro back then, too.
No, he's...
Yeah, he's bald now. I know.
Right.
I go way back with Pete, but go ahead. I know Pete.
So guys like him and Chris Brusha and stuff, where I could watch them lift huge amount of weight, like it was easy, and they were I looked up to those guys to where I was like, wow, I want to be able to do that one day and just work hard towards it. And then I joined, I went into the Air Force. I went into basic training, got through that. I was a weapons specialist by trade, and then it was a few years into my enlistment where I got, I was friends with this other guy who wanted to go into SEER, which is a survival type job, and you got to pass a physical test. So I started training with him. We would do like 5Ks 3 times a week with a ruck on and wear these vests and do what we called 30 every 30. So every 30 minutes we'd do 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and just it became a lifestyle for us. And then we both became physical training leaders so that we can develop training plans for our squadron to do as well. And they hated us, but doing all that at 6 in the morning.
Is that there's kind of a mindset in the military, or I'm a civilian. I've not been in the military. My dad's a 20-year Air Force. He retired after 20 years. So I kind of saw it from a distance. But I think most of us who haven't been associated, there's a mindset of like they push you till you break, right? And so you guys lived up to that.
We try to, especially with the unit that I was in, because we were like a combat search and rescue unit. So we all wanted to be what's called, we call it fit to fight. So my business kind of transitioned from that, where even though, there's a lot of civilians and stuff out here, you also have your battles every day, you know, whether it be moving furniture or, you know, playing competitive sports or just, you know, maintaining an overall healthy lifestyle. So I wanted to bring kind of military type training to Rochester, and get people in, you know, the best shape of their life where they can do those things easier, and without injury.
And without pushing them till they broke.
Yes.
Unless Courtney says it's okay.
Correct.
Now, Courtney, do you have any military background, or are you just kind of have fallen in line with Matt's philosophy?
No, I don't have any military background, but I struggled with weight basically throughout my entire adolescence. I was probably about 30 pounds overweight as a teen in high school, and started getting into living a healthy lifestyle when I was 19, 20 years old. Completely uneducated, you know, thought it was all calories. And
Sure, you were just restricting calories and had
I was
to lose
just
that
trying
weight.
to cut that back and, you know, doing crazy amounts of cardio and not really getting anywhere. You know, it's been a 9-year struggle, but throughout my journey with myself getting to a healthy lifestyle, I've really created this passion and drive in myself where I want to show people, I want to help people how this can be done. I want to prove to them, no matter what circumstances that you face, you can achieve this. You can. And I want them to learn from my mistakes. You know, like it was frustrating. It really was.
Sure.
And I was going down kind of a dangerous road before I found this. And I wasn't doing this and getting that confidence in myself. I think that gives you an overall great life. You can take this to work. You can apply any of this stuff to anything that you want to do in life. Because once you're confident and believe in yourself, you can do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to say preach, right? I mean, you're kind of hitting the nail on the head, because that's what we talk about here at Healthy Edge Radio. The importance of having health, fitness, and wellness at the foundation of your lifestyle. And then that will carry over to the other areas. You become a better employee or business owner, you become a better spouse or significant other, a better son, daughter. You know, it just kind of makes everything a little better. You know, it's not the magic bullet. I never advocate people just eschewing every aspect of their life and live a life of denial. Don't eat any sugar. Don't drink any alcohol. Don't hang out with negative people. You know, you can go too far with anything, but if you keep it in balance and use it as a foundation, health and fitness is just, I mean, you couldn't pay the amount of money that it would cost to buy it if you could just buy it in a bottle. And it sounds like you've experienced that firsthand.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, we're coming up on another break here. We got about a minute and a half. Tell us where Gruntz Fitness is located, and I think we've covered why people should come. If you want to throw a little, infomercial in for that, but how they can get a hold of you and come and train with you.
Right now we're training out of ATR Fitness in Webster on Empire Boulevard. You can contact us through our website, our Facebook page, our numbers are on there, email address, all that good stuff. But, we both are NASM certified, National Academy of Sports Medicine. And if you come to us for personal training, one-on-one training, you're really going to get an overall great experience where you're going to go through 5 stages. We basically build people from the ground up. We address those muscle imbalances through our stabilization endurance phase. Then we go into strength endurance, muscle growth, max strength, which is good for women. It's like a lot of 1 rep max, so it builds your bone density. So women are more prone to osteoporosis, so it'll help prevent that. And then, speed, agility, quickness for athletes, things like that. So
yeah, NASM's a great program, great certification program. And I think it's important. And what you're trying to say is you don't just pull workouts out of your arse over there. No. You actually have a systematic program to help people get to their optimal level of fitness. Let's do this. We'll take another break. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Monroe County CrossFit promotion. We'll also move John H's gym bag of listener questions. That's my alarm telling me that we have to go to break. So we'll do that all when we come back here on Healthy Edge Radio on Fox Sports 1280 Rochester.
You're listening to Healthy